Hey guys, it's Neil here again. Broken bones, generating genius, re-Indigenizing the digital mind. So re-Indigenizing, bringing soul back to our lives, into my life, grounding myself in this world, in the place I am, where I am, grounding my digital monkey brain back into my body. It's Friday! Friday! Okay, I picked that up on Facebook this morning. I kind of liked it. Friday, it's really cool. So look at this, Loch Earn on a beautiful Friday or Friday. So sunny, so peaceful. And we've got a holly here who's been shining her light all winter, and a wild rose buried in it, growing out from the centre. Wow. Very powerful energy. So today, on the Loch Shore, I'm going to talk about power and force. Two very different concepts. I mean, we all define things differently, but for me, actually, it's redefining these very powerful ideas and concepts. Power versus force. And before I go there, I just want to talk about authority. Something that dominated my life growing up and how it was defined, and I'm certain that dominated a lot of people's lives, especially in the Western world. This authoritarian, this authority, this outside force, this big brother, this thing monitoring our lives, this thing dictating who we are, telling us what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And I think it's one of the biggest issues we have, how we relate to it and what we think of it and how it was defined for us. And how it broke us into many little broken pieces and fragmented pieces, little pieces of ourselves. And our parents were the first authority, let's say. And some people, it wasn't even parents, it could have been people in homes, orphans, people who didn't have parents, but those parents were defined in different ways, those first influences. I can tell you when I'm out here, it doesn't feel like there's much authority. Maybe that's why it's important, why we re-indigenize ourselves, why we put our feet back on the ground and we're in these natural spaces. Well, when we're here, for me anyway, there's no authority. No overriding energy that dictates what I do, what I say, how I do it. But I also want to look at the word authority itself. If you look at it and unpack it, it actually comes from author. So, author, we all know what an author is, somebody who has defined their own voice, unique voice, or creativity. So they authorize it, they are the author, the original energy that spoke. In many ways, as God is the author of the word, we were taught in religious studies. An overpowering energy in Christianity and in many other authoritarian religions. And I'm not dissing Christianity, because I think the teaching of it is much deeper than how it was taken advantage of and manipulation, but that's another story. So the author. And the author is the person who speaks it, says it, writes it. And in that sense, everything we do and everything we say and everything that comes to our mind, we are the author. We authorize that by our mere existence. So I want you to really feel into where in your life are you the author? Where do you feel that you are the authority? I've had a long journey with this, and even to this day, the definition of authority, I grew up with that perception, has seeped into my life. and seeps into my life still and tries to take over. But I am the author. I authorize it. Just like this video, I am the author. You may agree with what I say, you may like it or you don't. It doesn't matter, because I am the author, as you are the author. So there is no power above you, there is no power outside of you. But we're getting to power, and we're getting to force now. So force, we hear that a lot. And there's a very famous line that uses the word force. I'm sure you can guess it. You can put it in the comments if you know it already. But you're not watching this live, so I'm going to have to tell you at some point. Actually, maybe I'll not tell you. You tell me in the comments. What is that one line, and we've heard a lot in modern culture where force is used. But I'm going to tell you a few other words, how force is used in our culture. One of the ones that really makes me ill is when the one force-fed. Force-fed. Now, I feel that. Do you feel that? Force-fed. It doesn't feel good. And many kids are force-fed. Not just food, many things. Then there's the other one. You're a force to be reckoned with. I don't know how that feels. It's a little bit closer. Force to be reckoned with. Still seems quite aggressive to me. Even if I say it slow, force to be reckoned with. Doesn't feel good still. There's another one. Force their hand. Ooh, ugh, icky, icky. Force their hand. Ugh. I don't like that. Force their hand. And we've used that. People have used that. We've all been there where we've forced someone's hand, and we've used manipulation. I know I can own that. We've used manipulation to force someone's hand into doing something you want them to do, because it's control. And so for me, force is the thing that in many ways we attribute to the authority, forcing us, forcing our hand, forcing our decisions, making us do things, controlling, fear. And right now with this pandemic, we have to be really careful that we don't lose our own autonomy and authority, our own authority, God-given or whatever given, it's ours, to decide for ourselves. But this is not a political video, this is about power and force. And so, forcing each other is what we grew up with, many of us, defining that. Power, on the other hand, even if you look at power, it's a word I've redefined and I hear a lot, empowerment. So to be empowered, to empowering oneself. But even power in common language, in terminology, power is like power up. Let me think of another one. There's not too many examples I can think of. Just wait a second, because I think I wrote a few down. Oh yeah, well, power corrupts. It's not really even personal, but it's a message we received about the authority again, and that power corrupts. So power corrupts, that is, whoa, power corrupts. And when we hear that, it's like, if you have power, it corrupts. And maybe again, we're fed that, like the authority has power and it's corruptible. But is that power, or again control? Again, they're all definitions. Make your own mind up. And then the power behind the throne, or the power behind the seat. So again, that other figure, that big brother, the power behind this. Who's the power, the hidden power? Not very positive use of the word power. Let me tell you about power for me. Power is my totality. It is everything I am, all the parts of me, all together in this experience. From there is my power, from there is my authority to lead my life, to make decisions and choice. It's not outside of me, it's not something I can achieve or something I can get or something I can win back or take from others. It's something that exists. And yes, we do give our power away, but not in a sense that we give it away for other people to own because we've just defined that they have my power. No, we've just shut ourselves off from our power. by convincing ourselves that others have it, that the situation has it. So let me ask you a question. Where is there power in your life? Where do you have power? Where do you feel powerful to make your own mind up and choice? It could be the simplest things. Where is your power right now? In my work with people and in my own personal work for many, many years, I find a lot of time when it comes to power, people live in a powerless state which leads to depression, anxiety and hopelessness. And a lot of times the power is defined as being something outside of themselves, something that they don't have. It's like the circumstance of their life dictate, like my mortgage, my kids, my job, my really nasty boss, the hopelessness in having no choice, having no power. Well, it's all an illusion. I mean, I'm not saying here that all things will change instantly the minute you discover your power, but from that place inside, that creative totality, that power, that connection, it's from that place that all things change, because that's the place where a generating genius comes into play and transforms who we are. But we can't make it happen, nor can we force it, nor can we know what the next, we can't predict what's happening next, because that's control again, and that's using force. I'm going to force my way through. Force. I'm going to make my life change. Force. That's bloody exhausting. That's exhausting, even watching people do that. Watch myself, sense myself doing it. People who know me know I have this, let's say, force of energy. And sometimes that's procreative. It's just me generating. And I'm always generating, but sometimes it generates consequences that are not beneficial, not procreative. They're destructive. So reclaiming that power, being aware of that, touching in that place, that creative place, not needing to know what's going to happen next, how it's going to show up, even if the mind wants to do it, that digital mind. When, what, where, why, all the W's. There's a how in there too, which is a very big one. Maybe we should replace that, all those W's, to something like the wondrous wiggly wagon or something. That would be very good. That's how we should approach our life, just from that creative making it up place. I'm going to illustrate something for you quickly, just to draw attention to the fact that where our power ended up, and where we ended up as adults, feeling so powerless in our lives without much choice. So I just turned the camera around, that's the best. So here you see a pile of stones, right? And you weren't born a pile of stones. You were born whole, 100% whole. This beautiful, generative, creative, explosive, powerful, without limitations, so limitless human being, this spirit born into a human body, into a soul, born out of the earth. So spirit and soul, heaven and earth bound together in this beautiful, wondrous dance that became you, and is much bigger than your individual you, and so much more powerful and generative. Most of us have never known what that feels like after childhood. But let's just say, for all purposes, metaphorically, you're this bunch of stones when you were born. All possibilities, a circle with so many beautiful parts. Though you weren't a part then, you were in unison with yourself. You didn't differentiate yourself from anything. But hey, so such is life and the journey of life. Something happened, right? All your formative experiences, parents, the authority. And not all of you was acceptable. Not all of you was what those people wanted, and through their own personal journeys and what they experienced and how life was defined, it became very apparent that parts of you weren't acceptable. So in my case, and I'm sure many of you are, you know, that little rascal, he wasn't wanted. So he just fell off the rock. Where did he go? I don't know where he went. The next one was, you know, my boisterous, jumpy, really energetic self. No, too much of that. Not enough. It's too much, sorry. We can't have it. Then there was the other part of me, which is happy, laughy, making jokes with people. Too much of that. Gotta calm down. We can't be going around talking and joking with everyone, making fun. Then there was the creative self. Well, many creative self. The kid that liked to draw all the time. Some of that was acceptable. Yes, it was okay. But as I got older, no, you gotta get serious about life. You gotta take life serious. You can't be going around just drawing and making things. You know, you gotta get down to your math and start studying. And then there was many other parts. There was the cheeky self, and we'll just put him where he went. Then there was you know, the trickster part of me who liked to play games on other people, make up stories and play games on them. That wasn't acceptable. Oh, there was so many parts. There was, you know, there was a storyteller, telling too many stories, don't make up stories, son. There was the dancer jumping around the place on top of things. You better calm down. You don't need to be doing so much of that. So piece by piece, not acceptable. Too much of that. Society won't like you for that. You can't say no to everything. Can't set boundaries. I know what's good for you. Everything went. So many parts. Loads of parts. All went away. All went away. Word went away. Hidden, repressed, denied. And what was left? In some people's case, is very little. It could be a lot less of me there, but there, if you can look closely, there's a very hollow center. Because that's exactly how I felt once I reached adulthood. I felt hollow. I felt so many things were wrong. I didn't feel happy. I couldn't remember what joy was. And I didn't know where it went. No one told me. I don't know why I felt this way. As a teenager, I was angry. And you know what? Angry wasn't acceptable either. Oh, tears? No, boys don't cry. Pointing out other people's mistakes as they pointed out mine, you know, telling people their shadows and what they're, you know, telling me to do one thing and they were doing it. No, you're not allowed that. That's criticism. And maybe that wasn't criticism, that was telling the truth. You can't tell the truth like that. So many parts of me weren't acceptable. So many. And I grew up hollow and empty, not knowing what it was. And where did all those parts go? Deep into my unconscious mind. Into the water. Deep mystery. I really felt lost and frustrated and empty and without purpose. I think that's one of the hardest things for me to accept. So many years lost that way. Maybe you know what I feel like. Maybe you understand what I just illustrated. Maybe you feel that in your own body. Maybe you feel that in your life right now. And how do you get that back? How do you reclaim those parts of your soul that were put away into shadow, as we say? It's a terminology where it was hidden, repressed or denied. No access to it. And that's where your power is. Your power is in those parts. In those joyful, playful, creative, spontaneous parts of you. That's where your energy is and that's where your power is. Because your power is your energy source. And all of you together is where your power is. And the more of the parts that are acknowledged and brought back to life, brought back into your body, brought back into your life, the more of that is brought in, the more power you will have and the more confidence you will have. So that's the work, folks. The work is to do that. The work is to reclaim our indigenous souls, so we can feel more human, more powerful, and more confident in our own authority, to remake our lives, to rebuild our lives, and to love from that place, to love all of this and every moment we live in, and know that you are enough. You are enough wherever you are, however you show up, whatever you decide to do. You're the authority. There's no one else can possibly ever judge that or tell you any different. And no one will ever do that again to me. Others try, many do try, and it hurts. It really hurts still, because I'm wounded still. I have those pains and I have those rejections. But it's not enough to unearth me, to root me up. My roots go much deeper now. And all our roots, we can grow our roots in this earth, in this journey, this life. So that's all for now. Like and subscribe and share if you think this is something other people need to hear in your life. And if you need help with that, you need help knowing what you can do about that, how you can begin to reclaim, reach out. I can help you. Something came to me the day in my creative self. It was like, what are you, Neil, to people? And it was a really spontaneous moment where it just popped up, and I heard this come out. I'm a shadow watcher and a gold spotter. So, shadow watcher, gold spotter. And I really like that. And we all need to be guides for each other here and support each other in that place. So take care of yourselves until next time. Broken bones is okay. Generating genius is the work. Lots of love and beauty in your life. Stay focused. The next step. Feel it. Do it.